Hi, I'm Shannon Knight. Here we are in 2021. When I look back on the last decade of my life, I can see how many times I've had unexpected blessings and even miracles. The most extraordinary part of my journey was that I survived stage 4 breast cancer and stage 3 without ever doing chemo. I'm over 9 years cancer-free, and I'm still healthy and thriving in my life, even after UCLA gave up on me, giving me 3 to 12 months to live. I am so grateful. How I did it is not such an easy answer. It took me 5 years to heal from breast cancer, and it all began in 2006 at the University of Washington in Seattle, where I was first diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. It was estrogen and progesterone positive and HER2 negative. Getting this diagnosis felt like a whirlwind. From that day, my life was never the same. I did the recommended surgery and had a bilateral mastectomy to have both breasts completely removed right down to the rib cage. Nothing of that feminine part of my body was spared. Every day, I felt a strange emotional loss, and it has taken many years for me to heal. Nothing and no one could have prepared me for everything that followed emotionally, mentally, and physically. It is why I say I can share my story with those of you who ask how I beat stage 4 breast cancer, but I will never be able to fully explain the full magnitude of how hard the choices were that I had to make along the way before I completely healed. I can relate to so many other survivors in many ways, and they can relate to me, but we're each so different and on our own separate journeys. When we get a cancer diagnosis, it is shocking and it hits us so hard. It feels like we're thrown over a wall, a great big wall, and we're immediately separated from family and friends. We are thrown instantly on a battlefield, and we're thrown into a whole new way of life, just trying to figure out how to fight an enemy we know nothing about. We're sitting here trying to figure out which arsenal to use, and it is also exhausting. We're called survivors, and embracing that term is daunting. We can relate to one another fighting cancer, the emotions, the mental trials, and going through the broken heart. Yes, a broken heart, because we lose a part of ourselves. We're grieving. We let go of dreams we had. They're suddenly ripped from us. We lose an ideal of what we thought our life was going to be. We weren't planning on cancer. We make new friends. They're fighting cancer too. And we experience grief because we lose some of those friends we made who lost their battle. We want to be victorious. This becomes our new dream. To survive. There is collateral damage along the way, and we each have a list of our own losses. Things we never thought we would lose, like relationships, career, so much. My cancer journey was uncertain. The path wasn't laid out for me. I got a staph infection from surgery, but it took months to heal. I was too sick to do the radiation and chemo when I was stage 3 back in 2006. Looking back, I can see how much braver I was than I actually thought. I had to make decisions when I couldn't see what was at the end of any path laid before me. I can't tell you how much criticism I went through from family and friends. Before, during, and after treatment, it wasn't because they were mean-spirited. On the contrary, it was because people loved me, and they had their idea of what they thought would be best for me. It's amazing what people do in the name of love. It's intense. They want you to do what they think is best. This was one of the most significant ways for me to grow stronger emotionally and mentally. I learned not to worry about the opinions of people who were not fighting for their life and to love them unconditionally. This was my fight, though, and every choice I made meant I was responsible for the outcome. I am alive because I trusted myself to take very unfamiliar steps with fear and with faith. And I found the courage along the way. In 2010, I had a stage 4 recurrence. I had surgery on my sternum for the biopsy, and I did 22 out of the 40 radiation sessions that were planned for me. And I was too sick to finish the radiation, and the cancer only progressed and metastasized to all lobes of my lungs, my ribs, my clavicle, and my sternum and lymph nodes. That staph infection that I got prevented me from doing chemotherapy once again. And when UCLA said I couldn't do any more radiation because I was coughing so much, they also told me that I only had 3 to 12 months to live, and I was devastated and terrified. And so were my kids. I had arrived at yet another crossroads where I had to choose to accept the fate of what UCLA gave me and get my affairs in order, planning for my death, or choose a new and unfamiliar path of alternative medicine. It was CMN Hospital I found, which meant I would have to cross the Mexican border of Arizona and Mexico. And when I did choose that, even though it was only 14 blocks, I felt like I was a world away from home. Both paths were frightening for me, but at least the path to alternative cancer treatment with Dr. Payan and CMN offered me hope. So that's why I chose Mexico. It was not the first thing I thought to do in year one. No, I waited until I had no other options. This was the most tremendous, stressful decision in my life. I had no other options except to give up or go to Mexico. This wasn't like anything else I had to choose in my life, or anything else I had to choose to save my life. Giving up was not in my nature. I chose CMN despite many people thinking it was a fool's mission. I knew whether I lived or died, it was my decision. My fighting spirit was what pushed me through, and I knew no one else could fight for my life. I cannot stress this enough, and how vulnerable I felt and how terrified I was. Even though I was afraid, though, I went to CMN Hospital, and I thank God that I did, and I trusted my intuition and had faith, because on October 15th, 2011, I triumphed over cancer. I got an all-clear PET CT scan 7 months after treatment at CMN Hospital that confirmed cancer was gone. I had made many brave choices in the last 5 years of that cancer journey, and the final one was not quitting, was not accepting that death sentence and crossing that border and going to Mexico to CMN Hospital. I knew many people were still nervous that cancer would return someday after I was healed. Yet year after year, and even now, a decade later since I walked into CMN Hospital's doors, I know now from personal experience at witnessing others that the United States of America does not have the best or the healthiest medicine to treat cancer. When a doctor in America says there's nothing else that can be done and to get your affairs in order, sometimes getting your affairs in order might mean keep searching. And that's what I did until I found CMN. Every doctor and every hospital has its limitations on helping people, and they will reveal that to you. If they're honest, they'll say this is all they can do, but they're not God. UCLA had their approach and their methods of medical practice with me. They gave it their best shot to treat me for advanced stage 4 breast cancer, and they were right. There was nothing else they could do. If you're like me, you know what that means. Keep searching. Don't give up. If you've got that fighting spirit like I have, you keep searching. If I ever were to face another cancer diagnosis again, I would go right back to CMN Hospital. No delay. I blazed a trail already, and I know the way. I've left some footprints for anyone who wants to follow. You can get the information. CMN Hospital's phone number is toll-free, 1-844-371-1117. Their website is cmnact.com. Give them a call or go to their website. You have nothing to lose.